Akriti, you're on mute if you're speaking something.
Yeah. Hello everyone. I'm Akriti, your host for today. Before we jump into our session, let me introduce our trainer SK to you. Like, being his ex-student, I'm truly honored to have you, SK, today with us.
Thank you.
And yeah, over the years, like we know, SK has empowered countless beginners and professionals to unlock the full potential of this incredible tool. So, yeah, we are looking forward to learning from you. So, without a further ado, let's hand it over to you.
Okay. Thank you, Akriti. Thank you so much for your wonderful introduction. So, guys, let's not. Yeah, just have one to join. So, okay. Okay. 1 second. I have someone at the door. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Sorry for the delay. So, guys, before starting anything, right, wanted to get a brief understanding from your perspective. What do you think Artlix is? Anyone? Shikhar, Vinod, Salim, Muthukumar, anyone?
Hello. As per my knowledge, it is an automation tool and
Mm-hmm.
visualization.
Okay. So you're partially correct.
Yeah.
We can have another answer.
Yeah, it's an automation tool which is used for data preparation, data cleansing, and data processing altogether.
Okay.
And
Okay. What do we
also,
call this
we can
process? ETL, right?
ETL. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So basically, guys, Alteryx is a ETL tool as well as low code, no code automation tool. What do you mean by ETL? ETL represents extract, transform, and
Transform
load.
load.
Yes. You can extract the raw data from whatever sources you want. You can transform it with very ease, without any coding requirement, without any prior knowledge in coding. You can transform it and load it to whatever data sources you want. So on a high level, this is what Alteryx does. As Vinod also mentioned, it is a visualization tool. I wouldn't say it is a visualization tool. Yes, it has the capabilities to visualize, but it's not meant for visualization to the extent compared to Power BI and Tableau. Got my point, right? We have visualization capabilities, but those are not that advanced. We have basic visualization capabilities in Alteryx. It is a low code, no code automation tool. From this point, can someone help me out? What might be the basic requirement to learn Alteryx? Is it something like only tech people can learn Alteryx? Is it something like only B Tech people can learn Alteryx? Computer science people can learn Alteryx? What is your understanding on this?
So anyone can learn from my perspective
Exactly.
because
Exactly. Exactly. There's no limitation, to such that like only tech people or some from B Tech background or some other background can learn Alteryx. There's no limitation. Anyone can learn Alteryx and anyone can excel in it, provided you have proper guidance and practice. Practice is very important here. Most of the pieces what we do in Alteryx is based on the logics, what we built, our logical capabilities, how different we think for each component. That is important. Each solution can have multiple approaches. I wouldn't say one approach is correct and other approach is wrong. Every approach is correct by its own way. Only thing is how you're thinking and how you're thinking the future, that like think in a way which will make zero errors or minimum errors in future. We need to think multiple possibilities, and based on each possibility, we need to proceed. So that is about basics of Alteryx. Any doubts till this point?
No, sir.
Okay. So coming to the next point, let me just share my screen and give you a high level overview of how this tool looks. Let me know once my screen is visible.
Yeah, it's visible,
Yeah,
SK.
it's visible.
Okay. Okay. So this is how the Alteryx tool interface looks like. All these are tools. This is, as I mentioned, right? We have the code pre uh, pre-configured code in the form of multiple tools. Each tool has its own functionality and its own configuration. What do you mean by functionality? Functionality represents how the tool works. Configuration represents how we need to configure the tool. Configure in the sense how we need to map it or add changes to it. So, as I mentioned, this is called as tool palette. In tool palette, we'll have multiple tools. Each tool is segregated into multiple segments. In slash out is a segment. This particular segment, all the tools in this segment is used to extract the data or to push the data into a database or whatever it is. Next, we have preparation. So before going there, let me help you out with how do we extract data inside Alteryx. There are multiple ways. One way is drag and drop this tool. Click on this tool, left click, drag and drop it into canvas. Next, we have something called configuration. We could see that configuration here, configuration palette, configuration pane. In this configuration pane, we need to set this data to set a link to this tool with some other sources, right? To do that, what I can do is I can click on setup connection. In setup connection, I'll go to files. Here, I can either drag and drop a file or select a file. I'm selecting a file. Mhm. Okay. So let's say this is my file. I selected this file and then now I'm getting option to select the sheet. Just note that each type of file has its own configuration here. Because this is an Excel file, we got this configuration to select the sheet. If this would have been a CSV file, this window wouldn't have popped up. The pop-up we would have got is select the delimiter. We need to select the delimiter to delimit the CSV, right? That's what. Here I'm selecting the sheet 1 and I can click OK. Once I click OK, I have all the data which is available in sheet 1. Are we clear? Yes, no, don't know. Do you want me to repeat again?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay, chalo. Next, let's just dig a bit deep in input data. If you remember, I mentioned previously that we have multiple sources from where we can extract data from. How do we do that? I'll just drag and drop this input file here. Click on setup connection. Click on data sources. So if you see, these are all the data sources that we have, which can be used to extract data from. See, everything. Snowflake, Sparks, Tableau, Teradata, Aster, UiPath, Vertica. Don't know what this Vertica is, but it seems this is a data source. MongoDB, Microsoft SQL, everything. You will have almost all the databases from which you can extract data from. Let's say you don't have that particular database from which you wanted to extract data into it. So for that, what you can do is you can build your own custom connection. How do we do that? For that, we need Python understanding. But this is very, very, very advanced level. You don't need to understand this stuff at this point, but this is a possibility. That's what I'm telling you here. If whenever there is no connection available in this data source, you can create your own custom connection, and like you can use that to extract data from that particular source. But for that, you need Python understanding and minimal knowledge on it. Are we clear? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Next is types of files. I just know Excel and CSV and basic other types, but that's not it. Apart from Excel and CSV, we have multiple data type files. We have AVRO, we have tab delimited, we have .geo, we have hyper, .zip. So all this type of files are all this type of files can be imported into Alteryx. Got my point, right? This is about imports. Now, uh, whenever I try to set up a connection to this particular file, right? Don't you think it's a bit longer process, Instead of first click on setup connection and just click on file, select file, and all. Instead of that, what if I had a simple functionality to drag and drop? Just the way we copy one file from one folder to another folder, drag and drop. Yes, we have that too in Alteryx. Let's just bring some file into Alteryx using drag and drop functionality. Okay, this is a file what we used. So what I'll do is I'll click on it, left click, drag, drop. Okay, okay, drag and drop. So once I did that, I got my screen where I can select the file sheet. So I'll select on it and I'll click OK. That's it. How simple is it? Guys, how simple is it to how hard is it to convert some file into? Is it hard? Is it simple? How is it?
Simple.
Exactly. So next comes, we have output tool. Each tool has it, as I mentioned, each tool has its own functionality, and we'll be discussing more on each tools in further period. Let me give you a high level on segments of tools available here. This tab is used for preparation. We need to prepare the data. Whenever the raw data comes in, we need to first prepare the data. And to prepare that data, we have multiple tools available. These are all the tools which I use to prepare the data. There are few macros which I built and like which I used here, but apart from those, these all are tools used for preparation. And this is used for joins. If you are aware, if like mm, what's that called? Yeah, in SQL, you might have understood or at least heard of a concept called joins. In Excel, you might have used a function called VLOOKUP. So similar to that, Whatever we can perform in Excel or SQL, everything can be performed in Alteryx, but with very, very, very minimal efforts, very, very, very minimal uh, coding understanding, coding knowledge. For example, we have this join tool, which joins more than which joins two data sets using a particular key column, primary key and secondary key, foreign key. So same concepts what we have in SQL are almost all are applicable here. Some are not available. For that, we have union plus joins, which we'll be discussing more on in future. So we also have find and replace, append fields. Each tool has its own functionality. Apart from that, sometimes what we need is we have some raw data and that day in which one column has date in it, but that particular date is not the format which we need, which Alteryx can read. To convert that, we have a tool called datetime tool, and we have regex. Regex is a concept which is available in almost all coding languages. Anyone who are aware of regex previously?
Yeah,
Anyone? Okay. So apart from Muthukumar, anyone else who are who have heard about regex in other than Alteryx? Any tool other than Alteryx? Yes, Kiran?
No, no, no. I didn't.
Okay. So yeah, this regex is available in all tools, but it is very, very, very easy to use this regex in Alteryx. We have a total of 5 sessions dedicated specifically to regex. That that's the depth we'll be covering in regex. We have text to column, we have XML parse, whatnot. We have transformation tabs in which we have all the transformation tools. There is a custom macro, but okay, rest all are transformation tools. So as I mentioned, we have reporting functionality. Only these are available, and in that, let me get mm, layout interactive charts. In that interactive charts, let me show you what functionalities are available. Layer, see, these type of charts are available. Only these type of charts are available in Artrix. So if you want, and these are not that much interactive. So that's the reason Artrix is not used that much for visualization. But this data can be pushed to Power BI or Tableau. For that data, for that Power BI or Tableau to use the data which I am getting from Artrix as a source, and this could be refreshed periodically using servers. There's another concept called Alteryx server, which is used for multiple purposes. We'll discuss more on that uh, in future. But yeah, and we have few documentation tools as well. This is spatial analytics. What do you mean? What do you think spatial analytics is? Any guess? Geographical analysis. Spatial analytics is basically analysis of geographical area, and based on that geographical area and like geographical area, we can understand multiple factors from it. For example, mm, let's say I am setting up a new store in Bangalore. So I am setting up a new franchise in Bangalore. So my point is like, if a particular franchise is in let's say Fraser Town, and I wanted to set up a new franchise in Bangalore itself. So my criteria is I can't set up a franchise within 6 kilometers of that radius, 6 kilometer radius of Fraser Town, so that online orders won't affect this franchise, new franchise. So this kind of analysis I can easily do using Alteryx in spatial analytics. We can also have a live Google like satellite map thing in this spatial analytics. We can see the like we can see the live satellite view of particular area using spatial analytics here. There are multiple possibilities using spatial analytics, which we will be discussing further. Apart from this, you know what? Any idea what the costing of Artrix would be? One license cost. Anyone?
Around 8 lakhs, sir.
Yeah,
8 lakh and
exactly.
above.
Exactly. Ten thousand
Mm.
dollars, including intelligence suits. Without intelligence suits, it is 6,000 for individual. For corporate, it's 5,200 approx. But with intelligence suits, for individuals, it is 10,000. For corporate, it goes to around 8,000. So that costly Artrix is. So for that reason, a company can't provide Artrix license to everyone in the organization, right? So for that, we have a concept called analytical apps. What is analytical apps? Analytical apps helps us to run a particular workflow which you guys built. You build the workflow, I can run it without Alteryx installed in my system, without spending a penny on license cost. Got my point, right? That is analytical apps, and we have a few concepts from macros too. What are macros? Macros are repetitive tasks. We have multiple functionalities in macros. So let me show you what type of macros we have. We have standard analytical, oh sorry, in macros. We have iterative macro, we have batch macro, and we have standard macro. So these three are the main macros we have in Alteryx. Each macro has its own functionality. Looping concepts, iterative macro, standard macro is used for basic repetitive tasks, combination of multiple tools in a single tool. For example, if I could show you, this is a macro. This is a custom built macro. This is a custom built macro. This is a custom built macro. And yeah, these are all custom built macros.
Do we require any coding for a macro?
No coding requirement as such.
In general,
Macros.
in Excel we use coding, right, for macro.
Yeah, so let me give you an example here. For example, let's say, who was it, by the way? I just missed you.
Yeah,
Who asked this
Arvind,
question?
it's Arvind.
Arvind. Okay. So Arvind, have you worked on VBA anytime recently?
Yeah, yeah. Currently I'm working
Yeah.
on it.
Okay, you are working on VBA. How much time does it take, like, to any huge case you're working on? Can you just give a
Not much.
brief? Okay, can you just give a brief on the use case and the timing required to do that? Anything like that, and coding knowledge required to do that, just in 1 or 2 minutes?
Actually, I get the data where I need
Hmm.
to clean the data using macro.
Okay.
Already,
Okay.
the code was written. I
Oh,
was just
code is
using.
already written. Okay.
Yeah, right.
So let me give you an example here. Let's say you are writing a macro, and to write it and to build it, you might you if you are spending like 7 to 8 days. Same thing can be automated in Artrix using custom pre-built tools in like less than 1 day. That how powerful Artrix is. You need a lot of coding understanding, scripting knowledge to build that particular macro in VBA. But in Alteryx, you don't need any coding knowledge, any scripting knowledge. to build these kind of repetitive macros. Everything is drag and drop. That's the main advantage. That's the reason companies are using Alteryx a lot recently. Everything is drag and drop in Alteryx. Got my point, right?
Yeah, yeah, got it.
Okay. Any more questions? Okay. So continuing to our path, continue to our next thing. Okay, there are many more concepts. We talked till interface, we had talked till analytical apps and macros in this session, but there are many other tools like investigation tools, data investigation tools. These data investigation tools are used for statistical analysis. You might have multiple statistical analysis which you need to do on a particular data. You might need a lot of knowledge to build that statistical analysis there. But in Alteryx, you don't need much knowledge to do that. We have every we have certain tools which can give us detailed statistical analysis using data investigation tools. We have predictive tools as well, which with which we can use predictive modeling. But this is a bit advanced. This requires a bit of practice. We have time series analysis too. This can also be done. So we have ample of opportunities as well as ample of what we say functionalities. It depends on how deep you can practice and how much time you can keep like put on Alteryx. So coming on to the next point, market demand and job market. How is that? Many people ask me the same question again and again. So this is yeah. So what I did here is let me refresh. Now I have 47,191. This was previous search. Let me refresh it and see how many we have now. Okay, we have 46,193. So these are the job postings which we have in Naukri in India currently. There's like every department is hiring for Artlix jobs. Engineering, data science, marketing, customer success, sales, finance, human resource, consulting, IT, research, you name it, and we'll be having it. Almost all segments are hiring for Alteryx. The reason behind that is Alteryx is a low code, no code automation tool. So, what businesses are trying to do currently is they are trying to automate their day to day work with the help of business users itself. You know, they are trying to reduce the time taken to automate it. The circle, what generally takes to automate anything. What's it? The time cycle is first a business analyst corrects the requirements, next transforms it into technical terminology and gives it to the developer, and developer builds it, gives it to the tester, he tests it, and then gives it to the end user, business users. So now the new trend, what companies are trying to do is they are trying to teach the business users Alteryx, and they are trying to make them do their automation by themselves. That is where they are getting most out of their employees here. So in this process, they're drastically reducing the manpower as well as time taken to complete a project. This has been a very good strategy, and like it has worked a lot, mostly for JP Morgan and UBS. So yeah, and coming to the background, many people ask me what is the background needed for learning Alteryx. So, if you observe here, even medical MS slash MD is also be are also we have many openings in this field too. For any graduate, we have 36,000 openings. MBA, we have 2,200. MTech, So, what does this prove? This proves that there's no specific requirement as such to learn Artrix and implement projects. Next is industry. In which industry is it being used rapidly? Obviously, in IT industry, next in finance, and rest all. In all industries, Alteryx is being used. BPO, call centers, medical services, pharma, design, legal, accounting, auditing, retail, everything. And let's check the top companies. All Big Fours is hiring for Alteryx. There are many companies. We can't count like one or two or anything. There are many, many, many companies. Accenture, PwC, IBM, Capgemini, Deutsche Bank, Suzuki, PepsiCo. PepsiCo and Target. These are rapidly hiring. PepsiCo is expanding a lot. I recently took a training for PepsiCo with combined with another company. So they are moving very fast in Alteryx. Next, Crisil, Capco, PayPal, Infosys, Nomura. Nomura is like we have limited licenses in Nomura. It's very hard to get Alteryx license in Nomura, to be honest, if you are into Nomura. Cars24, Wipro, Zempact, Swiggy, Swiggy, Mars, everything, like almost all companies you'll be finding here. Our list never ends. See? Okay. Guys, any doubts till this point?
So SK, in many areas, in many
Mm-hmm.
industries, I'm noticing that when I was looking at jobs and opportunities, in many
Mm-hmm.
cases they are much more paying than uh, it's brothers like Power BI and Tableau.
Yes, the
Why
reason
is
behind
that?
that is, yeah, the reason behind that is, see, salary always depends on supply and demand game. Currently, there's not much supply for Alteryx developers, but demand is as it is. Like, there's a lot of demand for Alteryx developers, but there's not much supply for Alteryx developers currently. That is the major reason why the pay scale of Alteryx developers is much higher compared to other technology people. So as a fresher, you can expect around without any knowledge, they are paying like 12 plus LPA for a fresher. And for 2 to 3 years of experience, they are paying 25 easily. And for 4 to 5 years experience in Alteryx, they are crossing nearly like 30 plus. So it depends, man. It depends on how skillful you are, how much worth you can bring into the table. And even I am taking many interviews recently in my organization, and most of the issues, what I say is, people mention Alteryx a lot in their resume. They keep this and that, and when we start asking them questions about basic stuff on Alteryx, they are blank. They try to manage. They try to manage a lot. That doesn't work. When you're trying to learn something, learn it in a full-fledged manner. Don't learn it for the namesake. Implement it, practice it. That's when you will get more understanding and you will be able to crack interviews. So I think, yeah, Arun, did this answer your question or you have something
No,
more?
no, absolutely. This is
Okay.
very helpful. I deliberately asked because these are the questions I
Yes.
keep on receiving in chat box or elsewhere in my mails.
Yeah,
Or yeah.
got it. Guys, any more questions, guys, from your side?
Any
Yeah, well.
real-time
Hmm.
challenges will you be explaining?
Yes, we have a lot of things. See, first is we have 12 plus assignments which we'll be covering in our session. Once we have that assignments covered, so it depends on profile to profile. What's your background and other stuff? So if someone comes with HR background, we can't tell that we are completely new to Arctic. So for that, what we normally do is we try to prepare some projects from their domain using Alteryx. In this way, they can showcase that they have work experience in this particular domain, as well as they have technical knowledge in that particular domain. So that will give them real time experience as well as good understanding of tool in their domain expansion. So yes, we'll be covering a lot of real time scenarios too. This training completely is based on real time scenarios itself. It's like structured in a way that people, if they're going into the job, they won't suffer. You know, they could easily tackle every possible problem they face in their real time jobs.
So, lot of times people say,
Mm-hmm.
um, i- they want to know what kind of projects recruiters like the most. For
Yes.
example, like if I understand, if it is in JP Morgan or it
Mm.
put in a financial situation, they would like to see projects relate to banking or
Yes.
finance or so. What kind of projects students have usually created in the past?
Yeah. So it depends on what type of jobs you're targeting to. Each and every project and each and every individual has to build their projects based on their technical know-how, based on their domain knowledge. So if you are from finance background and if you're targeting investment banks, then I would recommend build something related to that particular domain itself. If you are from HR background and if you're targeting for people analytics, so HR people can target for people analytics. People analytics is growing rapidly recently. In people analytics, they are hiring Alteryx developers with Alteryx knowledge, Alteryx and Excel understanding with HR knowledge.
Got
So there are many companies, depends on what domain you are targeting. You need to target the projects according to your specific domain itself. We can find multiple projects. I can help you out with all projects based on the domain, but it's on at the end, it's on you what kind of role you wanted to target, and based on that, you need to choose a particular project there.
SK, you have trained hundreds of students, I mean, in many,
Yeah.
many batches, some
Yes.
corporate trainings and so on and so forth. And we have seen many experience sharing sessions of students like, I mean, there was Arijit, Sadhu,
Mm.
there were many, many. I can take so many names.
Yep.
The question I want to ask is,
Mm.
so some students, they perform super well, very
Mm-hmm.
extremely well,
Mm.
because they are probably attending, know, all the classes. So,
Mm.
w- how do you separate? How, uh, what are the qualities of students that you like to have? Like
Exactly.
top three things that you want as students.
Yeah. So what I like the most is first, for first and the foremost, people should be punctual to the sessions. That's first and the foremost. Next, they need to practice a bit. They need to try different see. I can give you 100 examples, but there's no limit on what Artix is capable of. Even after 100 examples, if you try by yourself for a particular solution, your brainstorms, you start thinking in different ways. That will that will make sure that you have multiple solutions built for a single problem. That will help you a lot in building the logics. That is what important Artrix. That's the importance of Artrix, like building logics is very important in Artrix. Next is people's willingness to ask doubts. Unless people ask come with their doubts, we can't help much. You know, I keep on telling my students to ask more doubts, practice more, and get more doubts. We'll solve it.
Mm,
So these are the three main things which I ask people to do and which I love a lot.
gotcha. Um,
Yeah, Arun, any
One
more
more thing I
questions?
want, yeah, one more
Mm-hmm.
thing I want to ask is, this is a question I got
Mm-hmm.
from one of the students. Said like we have seen in the previous batches,
Hmm.
almost like 70-80% of the class,
Hmm.
they have done a lot of certifications, like they call it uh, core designer or some other certification. So, uh, how is the course material enough to your notes or course material you teach? Is it enough to take those certification exams?
Yes. So, see, in our syllabus, we'll be covering all the concepts needed to complete all these certifications which you see in our screen. From Alteryx Foundation Micro Credential to Alteryx Designer Advanced. We'll be providing sample questions and sample answers for this advanced certification and core designer too for students to test them out before writing the actual examination. We'll be having each and every detail syllabus required to complete all these certifications. And by the way, all these certifications are free in Alteryx website. And if you have advanced certification, your worth increases a lot in the market. Because if 100 people completed Alteryx Designer Core, out of 100, as per the statistics, only 3 to 3.5 students complete designer advanced certification. Currently, all over the world, we have last year. I don't know the current number, but last year we had 3,300 advanced certified designer advanced certified candidates. This data was for last year. Recent number we are yet to receive, but there is a very less number of people who complete advanced certification, and all these certifications are free.
Wow. So, SK, can you talk a little bit about, like, at a very high level,
Mhm.
I've seen the brochure, but
Mhm.
can we talk about, like, at a very high level, how the course progresses? What do we learn? What do we
Yes.
learn the first week or second week at a very high level,
Yeah.
so that
So,
I'm familiar with the terms. Yeah.
yes. So, we will start with blending basics, blending and writing data in Alteryx, getting data, expiration. Yeah, certificate expiration. Uh, it Each certificate has 2 years of validity. After 2 years, you need to rewrite the exam. That's not a big deal. Once you have completed the certification, you'll have a pretty good understanding on how to rewrite it and how to clear it. So coming to our syllabus, first we'll start with very basics of Alteryx. What is nodes? What is the tool palette? Components of Alteryx. Then we'll start with reading, blending, and writing data. Then parsing data, joins, performance analytics, and preparing data. Rejects itself takes 5 sessions. Next, analytical labs. Okay, spatial. Yeah, spatial is at the end. Okay, reporting, and then macros, then analytical labs, and then spatial analytics, and then web analytics, and then server first data investigation, then server, then practice test and interview questions. The sequence here, what we mentioned, might be a bit up and down, but will move according to the speed and how people are picking up our syllabus.
So some of these, as we proceed, I'm noticing,
Hmm.
and that this reminds me of one question of the student that they asked.
Hmm.
So there are some concepts which I've studied at a very high level in Excel. There are a
Yeah.
couple concepts like joins. When you say, I have
Hmm.
noticed that when I was doing SQL, I've
Hmm.
learned this is my basic SQL. But
Exactly.
I may have like so for some people who are not familiar with basic Excel and SQL, and I want a little bit more explanation,
Yes.
can you help me?
Yeah.
Can
So
you help me
what?
provide that?
Got it. Got it. So what in our batch, what happens is we have many students from CA background and other backgrounds too. So each student we prepare our syllabus, we teach in a way that basics are very, very clear. So let's say we are starting with joins. So what I normally do is first I explain what joins are, and then I'll explain the same concept in SQL, basic understanding of joins in SQL, and then we'll go to Excel, we'll do basic VLOOKUPs, and then we'll come here to Alteryx. So all
Got
the
you.
background needed will be covered in the session itself.
And of course, we have, we can always invite guest lecturers and guest
Yes,
experts to speak on a particular topic in the same.
exactly.
Good.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah,
So
that
that.
makes the student very relieved, because sometimes they say, no, I'm the engine. If you have an engineer or a CA, they
Mm,
might be more familiar with the mathematical concepts. But
yes.
like, I'm a new person, I'm not familiar with the domain.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, that is all about it. Guys, anyone else has any questions? You guys can ping me or ask here, unmute yourself and speak up. We have 5 more minutes.
yeah, Shikar, Moiddin, Salim.
Yeah, I have a question. If I give dedicated 2 hours daily, then how
Hmm.
much time it will take to complete?
See, 2 hours, see, our batch goes from 2.5 to 3 months. So it depends if you're dedicating 2 hours or like, see, ideally 1 hour in batch, and I recommend at least half an hour to 1 hour after the batch. So it will take at least 2 to 2.5 hours to complete Artix from scratch. Is it clear?
You been
Yeah,
months.
Yes, 2 to 2.5 months. Sorry for that.
Srini or Vinod, do you have any questions?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Okay then. Uh, so I think okay. I have a question. Please the send the post timing also. Okay, Muthu Kumar, just message me in WhatsApp. I'll send you all the details.
Gotcha.
Okay, guys, let's catch up later the day. So, yeah,
All
that's all
right.
from my side.
Thank you so much, SK, and thank you, Akriti, for being here as a wonderful host. If any of you guys have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to the group, WhatsApp SK. Um, just reach out to us so that all the questions before we begin the classes can be sorted out, so that when we start the classes, we can completely focus on that. Your time is very short to start the classes. All right. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Arun. Bye.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Bye.